Drake has long been a dominant force in the music industry, a name synonymous with success, innovation, and chart-topping hits. But behind the glitz and glamour, whispers of trouble have begun to circulate. From controversial feuds and public scrutiny to personal struggles and shifting musical landscapes, the once untouchable artist now faces a series of daunting challenges. As his latest album garners mixed reactions and the pressure mounts, fans and critics alike are left wondering, can Drake navigate these tumultuous waters and avoid a massive downfall? Join us as we delve into the intricate web of obstacles and possibilities that lie ahead for one of the biggest stars of our time. But before we move on, don't forget to subscribe. Let's dive in. Hip-hop has never witnessed such a colossal humiliation. Fans, podcasters, DJs, and rappers are all hailing the battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar as the greatest rap battle of all time. Kendrick, the king of the West, has proven his royal status. But at the same time, Drake's reputation has plummeted in the eyes of the public. Drake has removed his diss tracks, Family Matters, and The Heart Part 6 from his social media pages. Meanwhile, videos of middle schoolers mocking Drake by singing along to Kendrick's diss track, Not Like Us, where he calls Drake a minor, have gone viral. Drake, one of the best-selling artists in the world, is now navigating uncharted territory after being embarrassed by Kendrick. Perhaps Drake should take cues from past rappers who salvaged their careers after losing beefs. By breaking down some of the most iconic rap battles of all time, valuable lessons can be learned that might help Drake regain his footing. What strategies can he use to revive his career and bounce back stronger than ever? Let's start with one of the most vicious feuds of the 2000s, 50 Cent versus Ja Rule. Both rappers emerged from Queens, New York. 50 Cent claims their beef started when a member of Ja's crew, Murder Inc., stabbed him, while Ja claims 50 Cent was jealous of his success and popularity in New York. Regardless of the origins, both artists rose to become multi-platinum superstars. 50 Cent was relentless in his pursuit of Ja Rule, aiming to destroy his reputation with an onslaught of diss tracks. He released song after song, such as Your Life's on the Line, mocking Murder Inc., and Back Down, taunting Ja's crossover pop songs and even comparing his voice to the Cookie Monster. On Wangsta, 50 coined the term industry gangsters, and the song became a Billboard Hot 100 hit. Ja Rule, on the other hand, struggled to deliver a knockout response. His track Clap Back promised to take 50 to war, but didn't achieve the same notoriety. Another track, Loose Change, labeled 50 as a snitch, but 50's strategy of overwhelming Ja with numerous diss tracks proved too much for Ja to handle. Ja Rule's reputation never fully bounced back after his clash with 50 Cent. Though Ja enjoyed massive commercial success early on with blockbuster singles like Always on Time and Mesmerize, the beef with 50 led to a steep decline in his sales and popularity. Because Ja and 50 never truly reconciled, 50 has continued to troll and humiliate Ja to this day. In 2018, 50 Cent even bought 200 front row seats at a Ja Rule show, leaving Ja to perform to an empty arena. The tickets were so cheap on StubHub that 50 couldn't resist buying them just for a laugh. Right now on social media, people are constantly tweeting that Drake is the new Ja Rule. The comparison fits because, like Ja Rule, Drake built his reputation by blending rap and R&B and collaborating with pop stars. Kendrick Lamar, like 50 Cent, has been relentless, dropping diss track after diss track until Drake had no choice but to retreat. There's much Drake could learn from Ja Rule's downfall. Persistent attacks can ruin a career, and Ja struggled to reinvent himself after the feud. His image was forever tainted by 50, who used his songs to label Ja as a fake gangster, an ecstasy addict, and a wannabe Tupac. To avoid Ja Rule's fate, Drake must prevent Kendrick from having such control over his image. This moment could be a humbling one for Drake, pushing him to redefine himself and reclaim his status. Up next is the epic battle between Common and Ice Cube. In 1994, Common released I Used to Love Her, a song criticizing the direction hip-hop was taking. He threw shade at gangster rap and West Coast hip-hop, suggesting they were corrupting the essence of the genre. This sparked a heated feud with Ice Cube, one of the West Coast's biggest stars, and became a defining moment in hip-hop history. Understanding these past battles could offer Drake valuable insights into how to navigate his current challenges. Ice Cube, repping South Central La and known for popularizing gangster rap, took Common's critique very personally. His group, West Side Connection, retaliated with a diss track called West Side Slaughterhouse, where they blasted Common, saying, "All you suckers want to diss the Pacific, but you bust never get specific." Common hit back with "The Bitch in You," targeting Ice Cube's career, accusing him of falling off since his first album, stealing the East Coast sound to gain fame, and calling out his hypocrisy. "I heard her say you were favorite rapper, so I had to slap her and violate you. A Muslim drinking brew, damn." Fans were shocked by how vicious Common got, especially since he was known as a conscious rapper. Even more surprising was that Ice Cube and West Side Connection chose not to respond to "The Bitch in You," which many saw as an admission that Common had won the beef in a huge upset. "The Bitch in You" has since been hailed as one of the best diss tracks of all time. Despite this feud, both Common and Cube went on to enjoy long, successful careers. They even reconciled and became close friends. Cube, despite losing the battle, has continued to release critically acclaimed music and has found success in movies and TV shows. Common once feared that the beef would turn violent and is grateful that it stayed in the realm of music. There are significant parallels between Common versus Cube and Kendrick versus Drake. Many speculated that Drake would win because of his battle-tested history with Meek Mill, Kanye West, and Pusha T. Meanwhile, some doubted Kendrick, thinking a conscious rapper wouldn't have the viciousness and strategic discipline to beat someone as seasoned as Drake. However, Kendrick's relentless approach, much like Ice Cube's initial aggression, has shifted the dynamics, leaving Drake in a precarious position. Drake must learn from these past rap battles to navigate his way out of this feud and ensure his career doesn't take a hit similar to Ja Rule's. Drake could follow Ice Cube's strategy after his beef with Common by focusing on releasing timeless and consistent music, leaving the feud behind. Even though Cube took a very public loss and didn't respond to Common's harshest attacks, he restored his credibility by concentrating on his craft. Drake could do the same. Regardless of the music he drops in this era, criticism is inevitable. Drake likely paid close attention to the aftermath of the JayZ and Nas feud as New York rappers. JayZ and Nas had years of tension before things exploded in the early 2000s. Nas was a critically acclaimed prodigy who released Illmatic at just 20 years old. JayZ was seen as a former drug dealer turned top hustler in the rap game, who grew his music career into a multi-million-dollar business empire. By 2001, Nas's career was perceived as declining, with his albums following Illmatic receiving mixed reviews and fans claiming he had lost the edge that made him famous. Meanwhile, JayZ was rapidly ascending, becoming one of the best-selling rappers. When JayZ released Takeover in 2001, he systematically dismantled Nas's credibility, breaking down his discography and echoing whispers that Nas had fallen off. Nas responded by dropping Ether on JayZ's birthday, completely shifting the narrative. Instead of seeming washed up, Nas sounded reinvigorated and aggressive. He challenged JayZ, attacking his personal life, his crew, and mocking him relentlessly. He accused JayZ of preying on Biggie Small's legacy and stealing his lyrics. "How many of Biggie's rhymes are gonna come out your fat lips? Wanted to be on every last one of my classics." Ether was so powerful that it immediately changed the perception of Nas. Fans went from calling Nas irrelevant to saying Ether had reignited his career. JayZ, widely seen as losing the battle, responded with "Super Ugly," trying to match Nas's venom. JayZ bragged about sleeping with the mother of Nas's child, claiming he skied in your Jeep and left condoms on your baby's seat. Instead of outmatching Nas, JayZ was criticized for the song. Shortly after, JayZ appeared on Hot 97 and apologized for "Super Ugly," saying his own mother told him the song went too far. Nas is almost universally seen as having bested JayZ in their epic rap feud. Initially, it seemed their rivalry had become too bitter and personal to mend. But in 2005, Nas made a surprise appearance at JayZ's I Declare War concert, and the two performed together. Since then, they've collaborated multiple times and publicly expressed mutual respect. When Drake and Kendrick's feud began, many compared it to Jolly and Nas's historic battle. Like JayZ and Nas, both Drake and Kendrick are highly successful and famous artists at the top of the rap game. Drake has often compared himself to JayZ, saying, "I used to want to be on Rockefeller, then I turned into JayZ." During their battle, Drake made moves similar to JayZ's tactics. As the more commercially successful artist, Drake used his stats and sales to downplay Kendrick's relevance. When Kendrick dropped his first diss track, Euphoria, Drake responded with Family Matters, targeting Kendrick's longtime partner and children. JayZ and Nas now coexist as some of hip-hop's most beloved legends. Although things might be tense now, Drake could consider extending an olive branch to Kendrick for the sake of the culture. Just as JayZ and Nas's feud was the heavyweight battle of their generation, Drake and Kendrick's feud holds a similar status today. Perhaps the best way for Drake to move past this is to follow JayZ's example. If you can't beat him, join him. Another relevant case study for Drake is his long-standing feud with Pusha T. When Drake was a teenager dreaming of rap stardom, he was a huge Pusha T fan. He even bought a microphone supposedly autographed by Pusha on eBay. Years later, as Drake rose in the rap game, they became bitter rivals. In the song Dreams Money Can Buy, Drake said, "My favorite rappers either lost it or they ain't alive," which Pusha interpreted as a shot at him. For years, they exchanged subliminal disses. On Exodus 23:1, Pusha threatened Drake and his label bosses, Lil Wayne and Birdman, with lines like, "Beef will have you praying to God, move your kids, and have you hiding your mom." Pusha T implied that Drake doesn't even provide for his own mother, questioning how a multi-platinum rapper could live in squalor. Drake fired back on two birds, one stone, trying to undermine Pusha's street credibility with lines like, "But really it's you with all these drug dealer stories that's gotta stop, though you made a couple of chops, now you think you're Chapo." In 2018, the feud escalated when Pusha T released Infrared, where he called out Drake's persona and his reliance on ghostwriters, rapping, "How could you ever right your wrongs when you don't even write your songs?" Drake responded swiftly with Doopy Freestyle, continuing to question Pusha's cocaine-dealing past and relevance. He even taunted Pusha by saying, "I had a microphone of yours, but then the signature faded. I think it pretty much resembles what's been happening lately." Notably, Drake mentioned Pusha's then-fiancé's name, saying, "I told you keep playing with my name, and I'm gonna let it ring on you like Virginia Williams." Pusha T's response, "The story of Adidon," was explosive. He not only named Drake's mother and father, but also made bombshell claims that Drake was hiding a child and was a deadbeat, playing border control. Pusha doubled down by mocking Drake's producer, Ovo40, for having multiple sclerosis and shared photos of a younger Drake posing in blackface. Pusha's track made headlines, revealing that Drake had a son named Adonis and exposing an alleged Adidas marketing campaign Drake had planned to introduce his child to fans. Instead of recording an official response, Drake posted a written apology for the blackface photos and eventually appeared on LeBron James' interview Show the Shop to explain why he didn't release another diss track. He said, "I wanted to do other things. I didn't want to further your reputation or your career by rapping back at you and having this exchange. And that was it for me." Many hardcore hip-hop fans criticized Drake for resorting to PR instead of recording another song. In an interview with Rap Radar, Drake admitted that Pusha had won the beef, saying, "There's not really much I can say better than Drake has a baby. He won, he won off that."
And saying things that I don't know if in 2 years I'd want to hear myself say. And yeah, I just realized that like nobody cares about this guy. So it's not really much I can say better than Drake has a baby. He won. He won off that bomb. I had at the time I was working with Adidas, and we were toying with the idea of a name being a play off of a name, off of my son's name. I wasn't revealing my son with Adidas, or like I wasn't gonna have my son
Right.
But yeah, no, I was just.
Despite the criticism, Drake's strategy worked. He released his fifth studio album, Scorpion, just weeks later, which went on to go 5 times platinum. Instead of getting further entrenched in the battle with Pusha, Drake did everything he could to move past it. However, the specter of his loss to Pusha T still haunts his career. During the peak of Drake's battle with Kendrick, there were many references to his earlier clash with Pusha T. Kendrick reused lines Pusha had used to mock Drake's label situation on Euphoria and even mentioned Pusha by name, rapping, "Yeah, all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. How you think about pushing me? He's Terce Thornton. I'm Terce Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet." On Kendrick's Meet the Grams, he accused Drake of hiding another child, doubling down on the same attacks Pusha had used years earlier. While Drake's loss to Pusha T is still a sore spot, there's a clear path forward. Pusha outmaneuvered Drake with what Drake himself called a brilliant chess move. Now that Kendrick has done something similar, Drake's best move might be to accept the loss and move on to his next hit record. Even though Drake's battle with Kendrick is generational, it shares many parallels with other famous rap beefs. So, what kind of action plan can Drake craft to move forward? First, he needs to reflect and regroup. Acknowledging that Kendrick beat him and that popular opinion isn't on his side is crucial. Ignoring this reality will only make him look more bitter and out of touch, much like Ja Rule struggled to recover his image after 50 Cent dragged him back in the early 2000s. Taking some time away from the spotlight might remind fans why they miss Drake's music. An artistic renovation could also be beneficial. After taking such a public loss, fans will likely want something different from Drake. Part of Nas's strong comeback after Takeover was due to finding a new sound and becoming rejuvenated. If Drake were to experiment more and take risks, it might excite people about what's coming next. Drake can also take lessons from his past experiences with image management. After his war with Pusha T, he locked in on managing his image. By addressing the beef in a controlled manner, perhaps through documentaries or interviews, he might reclaim his narrative. Taking the JayZ route by addressing his past and his growth could also be effective. In recent years, JayZ has moved away from his earlier, more controversial music like Big Pimpin' and started focusing on how he's grown as a person. Since a major part of Kendrick's diss strategy was portraying Drake as a misogynist, Drake might benefit from following his mentor's example. More importantly, Drake should prioritize quality over quantity. One of the biggest criticisms he's faced recently is that he releases too much music. Since 2020, he has dropped 5 different projects and dozens of feature verses. By scaling back and being more selective with his releases, he could create more demand for his music post-beef instead of fans taking him for granted. If Drake handles this wisely, he could turn one of the most humiliating moments of his career into a massive comeback, preserving his legacy and extending his run for another decade. However, if he stumbles with his next move, hip-hop fans will never let him forget it. Every move is crucial, and all eyes are on Drake now. With the pressure on, the question is whether he can deliver or if Kendrick's beef was just the beginning of the end. But guys, do you think Drake can really avoid this massive downfall? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Then, check out this next video if you don't know that Lord Jammer talks about if it's cringeworthy to hear Drake say the N-word. And don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.